Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all good, hope you're all well. Coming to you again from sunny Barcelona. I'm out here for the 90 Min Football Summit, which is incredible so far. Really enjoying myself. Great to meet some of the team members from all over the globe as well. It's been so much fun so far, and I'm looking forward to the remainder of today, tomorrow, Friday as well. Still lots to come, but I will be back on Friday evening with a live edition of the podcast looking ahead to our final game of the season, which is against Everton. So if you're missing the podcast, it will be back towards the end of the week. But in the meantime, you're going to have to make do with some YouTube videos. Now, there's one bit from the kind of aftermath of what happened the other night that I really wanted to focus on. Mikel Arteta has been speaking or did speak to the media straight after the game and was asked whether he regretted Arsenal not doing more business in the January transfer window. And he said, look, we did what we can do, and we've done what we can do with what we have, what we're allowed to do this season. So basically, Mikel Arteta making the point that it's all well and good, everybody sitting there saying we should have done this in January, we could have done this in January. It doesn't mean that there was no money available in January. It doesn't mean that there was nothing for the club to spend. But what this suggests, if you read between the lines, I think, is that that we weren't willing to spend big money. We weren't willing to take a big risk. We weren't willing to divert from the plan in January just to get a signing in for the sake of it. We know that Arsenal were interested. We know that they tried to sign Dusan Vlahovic, for example, who ended up leaving Fiorentina to join Juventus. We know that that was an option that Arsenal looked at. But these comments, which are being made quite a big deal out of on social media, I'm seeing and have been talked about on various channels, podcasts, etc., they don't really surprise me, and they only actually reinforce what I already believed, which is that there was an option, a possibility of Arsenal bringing their summer plans forward if they could get the player that they wanted, if they could go out there and get signings at that point in the season that they felt were going to be the right signings to take us forward, the type of player, the caliber of player that they'll be looking to recruit in the summer with that long-term view and long-term ambition in mind, then they would have been quite happy to front up the money early and do it. Now, people say, but this player was available and that player was available. I've heard people talking about a forward that was playing his football at Basel, whose name escapes me. I hear people talking about Alvaro Morata, and maybe he should have come in on a loan deal. Now, I wasn't against the idea of Alvaro Morata coming in on a loan deal, but sometimes I feel like as fans, we get a little bit crazy, we get a little bit carried away, and we get a little bit ahead of ourselves. Why would Juventus want to loan Alvaro Morata out to Arsenal in the middle of the season and weaken their squad? This is just an example. Why would any club want to loan out a player of a certain caliber to another club in the middle of the season? For what? What gain do they get out of it? The only thing that you could possibly stand to gain from it, if you are looking to sell that player in the summer, is that they get to go somewhere, have a little bit of an audition. It's a bit of a kind of try before you buy, but most clubs would insist that you put an option to buy if certain terms are met, or an obligation to buy at the end of the season. There's got to be something in it for the club letting the player go. And you're only really going to be able to do those types of deals with players that are out of favour at their current clubs, not seen as indispensable, not seen as key parts of that squad, in which case, why would you want to do it? And then, you know, people always do this, don't they? They find names in the media and they say, well, we could have got this guy, we were linked with this guy, we could have got him if we wanted, we could have done this, we could have done that. We don't know how close any of these deals actually came. We don't even know, in some instances, if those players were approached. It's a bit like the Bruno Guimaraes situation for me. This one drives me absolutely bonkers. I've seen so many people making a big deal of the fact that he scored against us the other day. Great. Bruno Guimaraes, he's gone to Newcastle. He's not even been in the team most of the time, and he's finally starting to kind of show what a good player he is and what he's capable of. Do any of you know for a fact that Arsenal went up against Newcastle United and that Bruno Guimaraes chose Newcastle United over Arsenal? No, because that's not what happened. And that's not the information I've had. That's not been reported by anybody. he's a player that we were linked with by the media, not from Mikel Arteta, not from Edu, not from anyone in the club. It was a link made by the media, just like the Symeou one was last summer. Remember that? How many people were talking about Symeou? We're going to get him this summer. He's definitely coming. Do you hear anything of that anymore? Do you think that if Arsenal really thought he was the right guy, that they couldn't have got him? Of course they could. Of course they could, because whatever you say about Arsenal and whatever you say about their current state and the position that we're in today, financially, us and a number of other Premier League clubs have the ability to go to Europe and bully clubs into selling their players. That's what's happened because of the chasm between Premier League finances and everybody else. Do you think that Bruno Guimaraes, if he had two offers on the table, if both Arsenal and Newcastle had gone to Bruno Guimaraes and said, we've met Lyon's asking price, come to me, no, you come to me, do you think he would have chosen a relegation battle at Newcastle United over a Champions League chase with Arsenal? Do you honestly believe that? Yes, Newcastle have the finances nowadays, yeah, of course. But they still haven't achieved anything. They're still on their way. They're not a proposition that top players will look at and say, yeah, I want to go there. Which suggests that Arsenal, or anybody else for that matter that was linked with him, and there were a number of clubs, were actually in to do that deal. And this is the thing we've got to be really, really careful as fans, because I know for a fact, working in the world of football media, that a lot of stories are made from crumbs of information and pieces of information that have then been pieced together like a puzzle, only sometimes they get the puzzle wrong and the final product is wrong. And actually the conclusion that they come to is wrong. But there's this almost will and need and desire within the football industry to break stories first, to be the guy that said this first. And what you get as a consequence of that, as a consequence of that clamour to give information first and before any of your competitors and any of your colleagues, is that we get people guessing, half knowing stuff and jumping the gun to report it so that they can be the first. So Mikel Arteta's point about, we already done what we could do this season. We did what we can, in the sense of, I think, means that they looked at players that they feel would fit into the bigger picture and into the long-term strategy, and couldn't do one of the deals that they were fully on board on, couldn't do a deal that they believed would be for the greater good in the long run. Instead, they might have panic bought, they might have done something that was a little bit knee-jerk, and in the long run, that would have been counterproductive. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've been sick and tired over the last few years of watching Arsenal be knee-jerk at the end of transfer windows and sign players that just weren't good enough, and players that we then got stuck with because we gave ridiculous contracts to. So I stick by the same thing that I said in January. If the right deal is there to be done, by all means, bring those summer plans forward and get it done. And based on the Vlahovic chase, which we know to be true, I believe that Arsenal were open and willing to do a deal if they felt it was the right deal. But obviously, the ones that seemed possible didn't tick all the boxes. And I think that Arsenal, as I've said before, as a football club's objective was to get back into Europe. And they felt that they could achieve that without bringing those plans forward, even by thinning out the squad. And yeah, we're disappointed. It's a couple of days on and we still feel raw and bitter and sad about the fact that we're probably not going to be playing Champions League football next season. But as I keep saying, your objective, my objective, isn't necessarily in line with the club's. They wanted to get the team back into Europe. That's what they tasked Mikel Arteta with at the start of the season. He's done that and he's cleared the decks, hopefully meaning that we can go and have a big summer just like we did last year. And if we can make the same level of progress next season that we did this season, then I think that we'll be in a really, really good and strong position. So I'm glad that Mikel Arteta kind of moved to quash those stories by saying, look, we did what we can last season, letting people realise and highlighting to people that think they're playing a game of Football Manager that actually you've probably got a budget for the season. You probably know as a football club what you can spend over the season, as opposed to having this fresh money that just appears at the start of every transfer window. And as I say, I do believe that if the right opportunity presented itself, Arsenal would have been quite happy to bring those plans forward and move in anticipation of what's to come and move to bring someone in that they already had their eye on, that they already identified as the right option, as opposed to being knee-jerk and just trying to get something done to appease the fans. So it hurts at the moment. It does. There's no getting away from that. But the more I think about it and the more I calm down and the more I think about the bigger picture, I think that, yes, there is disappointment. But as I keep on saying, the more the dust settles, the more people, I think, will come around to the fact that actually, if we go and have a big summer again, then, you know, we've done the right thing. Were we ready to play Champions League football? It would have been a huge bonus. And I kept saying that it would, if we could make it, accelerate the process. And I do still believe that. But this group, without more significant investment, would have really struggled in the Champions League and would struggle to maintain the progress we've seen in the Premier League. So, is what it is. Deeply disappointed with what happened the other night, but at the same time, I don't want to let that deter from the fact that I think overall we're still moving in a positive direction. Whether we're moving quickly enough, whether you think we're moving at the right speed, is completely down to each individual. That's up to you. But at this moment in time, despite the recent disappointments, I feel like we're in a better place than we were at the end of last season. And so it's progress, whatever way you look at it. Anyway, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Really, really do appreciate your support. Sorry that the content is in a much shorter form at the moment, but as I say, I am away. I am on a work conference. I am trying to lap up as much of Barcelona as I can in between all of that stuff and in the evenings. So yeah, I'm not sitting at the laptop all day, not in the studio clearly. But yeah, we'll continue to bring you a daily video throughout the duration of my stay. I'll catch you all very, very soon. Like, subscribe, all the best. Goodbye.